What is up, everybody? It's the Don with the Don Tech and the Don Tech News. How many times can I say the same thing? Today's episode is going to be on the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Now, the Note 8 is scheduled for a release on September 15th in the US and the UK and September 22nd in Australia. Pre-orders will be available starting August 24th for the US, 23rd for the UK, and 25th for Australia. The general pricing is going to be around $930 US. The Note 8 will come in 4 different colors, which will include Midnight Black, Deep Sea Blue, Orchid Gray, and Maple Gold. The phone will have a 6.3-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED display. It will have 521 pixels per inch and a resolution of 2960 by 1440. This will also include a virtually invisible bezel similar to the Samsung Galaxy S8. The phone will weigh in at around 195 grams. It will include an S Pen described as more than just a pen to give you more utility to your phone overall. The camera has been updated on the front to an 8-megapixel autofocus and continues to include the wide selfie mode. The rear camera is getting some decent upgrades this time around with dual cameras. One is going to be a 12-megapixel telephoto camera, and the other is a wide-angle dual-pixel 12-megapixel camera that will offer more functionality than the telephoto camera. And together, they will give a couple of different options and features, and solo, they're also going to have their own abilities, such as being able to record in 4K video at 30 frames, 1080p at 60 frames, the ability to do slow motion, hyperlapse, and live focus, to name a few. All the phones will have an octa-core variable speed processor, which will depend on your country. The differences in these appear to be minimal, but in the United States, you're most likely going to be able to expect to get the 2.3 GHz quad plus 1.7 GHz quad 64-bit 10nm processor. The RAM comes in at 6 GB, and the internal storage will be starting at 64 gigs and will go all the way up to 256 gigs. This will also depend on your country and the models that are sold. The internal storage is still expandable using a micro SD with a maximum capacity of 256 gigs. All the phones will ship with Android 7.1.1, also known as Android Nougat. The phone will have a 3300 mAh battery, which is about 200 mAh less than the Note 7, but as long as it doesn't explode, I think it'll be okay. The charger is the smaller USB Type-C, which is always nice, and there is also a headphone jack. The Note 8 will also be water resistant with a rating of IP68, which means submersion up to 1.5 meters or 5 feet of fresh, aka non-salty water for up to 30 minutes. Fast charging will be available on wired and wireless charging devices as continued from the previous standards. And depending on your country and mobile carrier, you may have the ability to get up to LTE Cat 0.16, which is speeds up to 1 gigabit per second. So I hope this information was helpful to you. Let me know in the comments down below if you plan on getting this phone, if you're going to trade in what you've got, who you're coming from, what your interests are, or what phone you prefer. Thank you again so much for tuning in to another video, and remember, the Don's got your back.